Good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's program. This is Newswatch on Hope TV, where you look and live. My name is Tiffany Wamboy. Our sign language interpreter for today is Elizabeth Wanjiku. Do reach out to us via our WhatsApp line, which is 0708 222 Our SMS line is 22232. We are also live on YouTube at Hope TV Kenya. Do reach out to us with your comments, questions, and feedback on tonight's program. Now, on to our first story for today. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has toured the disturbed Shakahola Forest in Kilifi County for the commencement of the third phase of the exhumation exercise in the forest. He was flanked by Principal Secretary Raymond Amolo, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations boss Mohammed Amin. CS Kindiki noted that more sites have already been marked and identified as potential graves. Addressing the press, CS Kindiki stated that the government will not hide anything from Kenyans with regards to the tragedy at the site. While assuring that such an occurrence will not take place again, Kindiki noted that security roads will be opened in every 100 acres of the Chakama Ranch to aid in methodical and scientific research and search and rescue efforts, as well as the identification of graves.
The government of Kenya promises to tell the world the whole truth on what happened here on our soil. We have nothing to hide, and we will share the truth as much as we take stock of the lessons that we can pick from this terrible incident to ensure that a matter like this is never recorded again. For the ease of the search and rescue of any victims that could still be outstanding within the precincts of this forest, and also to aid the search for graves, a decision has been taken to open up security roads within Chakama Ranch so that we can be able to do roads and create compartments so that every 100 acres we are able to do the search and rescue, both for victims and for graves, in a methodical, systematic, scientific, and final manner.
Elsewhere, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and his minority counterpart Opiyo Wandayi have called on members of parliament to turn up for the National Prayer Breakfast meeting, which is slated for tomorrow. The legislators were speaking during the parliament sittings, which resumed from recess today. Ichung'wah and Wandayi, while acknowledging the importance of praying for the nation, called on their fellow legislators to attend the meeting despite their political affiliations. Wandayi in particular hoped that this year's meeting would be different from all others, which he says have been filled with empty promises and speeches.
This House resolves to suspend the morning sitting of Wednesday, 7th June 2023 at 9:30 a.m. The motion having been approved by the House Business Committee this morning is to allow members of the House to attend and participate in the 20th National Prayer Breakfast in the venue alluded to by the Honorable Speaker. The National Prayer Breakfast is now an annual event and organized by the Parliament of Kenya. Honorable members, as leaders, it is vital to hold and be part of such important activities. I therefore call for all members of the House to attend. Going forward, the National Prayer Breakfast will be one of the many activities in our calendar.
It's an occasion when the nation needs to reflect, really, on where it's standing, the gains has made, and perhaps what lies ahead. So it's an occasion which should be, in my view, made to remain solemn as an event for thorough reflection. Mr. Speaker, let me confess that in the past, I personally haven't had the occasion to attend the National Prayer Breakfast. But for tomorrow, I will be attending.
Our perfect opportunity to come together and reconcile ourselves first to our God. And I appreciate that the leader of minority also appreciates that the role God has in all our lives, irrespective of our political affiliation, Honorable Speaker. Two, it gives us the opportunity to also reconcile man to man. And therefore, I also look forward, Honorable Speaker, after the lofty speeches that would be at the prayer breakfast and the prayers, Honorable Speaker, because we cannot underestimate the value and the role that prayers play in our lives.
The Bible says you'll go to heaven with the trumpets and singing. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28-4, calendar of the Assembly, this House resolved to suspend the morning sitting of Wednesday, 7th June 2023 at 9:30 a.m. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
In the same breath, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party has announced that its leaders will not attend tomorrow's national prayer breakfast organized by the government. The Raila Odinga-led party said its members of parliament are, however, free to attend the event scheduled to take place at the Safari Park Hotel in Nairobi. In a statement, Azimio said it is convinced that the event does not offer the environment the country needs for humility before God, honesty with citizens, and respect between leaders. The opposition party further lamented that past events where leaders have shared platforms with Kenya Kwanza have been punctuated with, and I quote, a display of arrogance, superiority battles, false hopes to citizens, and vitriolic mischaracterization and misinterpretation of intentions by well-known Kenya Kwanza leaders, end of quote. Elsewhere, a group of activists at the Jivanji Gardens earlier today engaged in running battles with police officers who lobbed tear gas canisters at them as they protested against the proposed Finance Bill 2023. A number of demonstrators were also arrested during the protests organized by a consortium of lobby groups. The activists waved placards depicting proposed tax measures in the bill as bad for the country's economy. This comes ahead of the Thursday tabling of the bill that has been objected by various quarters. President William Ruto has, however, vowed the bill will pass and dared any legislator to oppose it. Kenya has today joined the rest of the world in marking the World Transplant Day under the theme Hope for Tomorrow, Transforming Lives Through Organ Donation. The day, promoted by the World Health Organization and the National Transplant Organization, is dedicated to celebrating achievements in the field of organ transplantation, honoring organ donors, and showing support for transplant recipients and their families. Here in Kenya, the Kenyatta National Hospital, in collaboration with the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Institute, Damu Kenya, and the Ministry of Health, celebrated the event at the KNH, which brought together donors, patients, and medical professionals. Alice Diana attended the celebrations and has filed the following report.
World Transplant Day is marked on June 6th every year to celebrate those who are given a second opportunity at life through the organ donation of selfless individuals. Many people globally are in need of an organ transplant due to genetic conditions such as polycystic kidney disease, cystic fibrosis, or a heart defect. Infections like hepatitis and chronic conditions such as diabetes also cause a person to require a transplant. The Ministry of Health, through Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority and Kenyatta National Hospital, together with families of recipients of donors, commemorated the day at KNH Hospital with activities including panel discussions, speeches, and testimonials of success stories from both donors and recipients.
My dad devoted himself to be my donor. I truly thank him because being the only breadwinner in our family, He sacrificed his kidney to save my life. God bless you, my dad.
And the problem was my cornea, that which was affected so much. It was more thin, more thick, that it could not comprehend to see, even to comprehend the light, because light gives ability to see. So after that, what they recommended to do operation, and I started the progress, and it went well. I registered for the operation, but I requested Lions so that they can do it earlier for me. So because I was going to sit for my KCSE exam, and they gave me opportunity because I'm a student, and I was put in front seat.
The recipients of different body organs highlighted some of the challenges they go through after the transplantation procedure, including high cost of medication.
Once you get a transplant, you need to take medication to suppress your immunity so that your new organ, which your body will recognize a foreign body, is not rejected by your body. And for you to be, those drugs, you need to take them for life. They're very expensive, and you find that a lot of people, a lot of kidney patients are not able to afford those drugs.
Cornea patients, you have to stick to drugs. Make sure you stick to drugs. The clinics are exhausting. It is very expensive also. You know, I come from Nakuru. I have to be, when the time for clinics is there, I have to come. All the way from Nakuru, you come, you go to the hospital, you go back. It's very expensive and demanding and time consuming also.
I urge the authorities, the government, NHIF, and all other stakeholders in this space to come up with a way whereby people like myself and all those living with transplants can be assisted so that the new lease of life does not now become another nightmare because of the cost of medication.
Speaking during the celebration at KNH grounds, Dr. Maurice Okwabubi, the Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority KTTA acting CEO, noted that KTTA is determined to inculcate a donation culture among people to enable them to attain a perpetual annual collection of blood, including organ donations.
Beyond the impact on transplant programs, the availability of blood will greatly impact maternal and child survival, reduce waiting times for Kenyans on dialysis and chemotherapy treatment, and reduce mortality from trauma.
On her part, Dr. Zainab Zura, who represented the PS for Medical Services in the Ministry of Health, Harikim Tai, said the Ministry of Health and Kenya Tissue and Transplant Authority are on course to develop a comprehensive framework of policies and guidelines to ensure quality and ethical practice whilst safeguarding the rights and well-being of both donors and recipients, as well as their families and communities.
Our commitment remains resolute to creating an environment that enforces good governance, supports effective and efficient regulation on organ donation and transplantation in our country. And this process is participatory. It includes the government, the policymakers, the clinicians, the practitioners, and also the public to make sure that all comments have been taken as we build and strengthen these services.
As Kenya joins the rest of the world in celebrating the World Transplant Day, Kenyans have been urged to be willing donors to those in need in order to save a life. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch at Kenyatta National Hospital in Nairobi County, I'm Alice Diana.
All right, that story takes us to our first short break for this bulletin, but do stay tuned for these and more updates coming your way.
Kama vile mashua baharini, mizani imekwisha wasili. Mara hii kila Alhamisi.
Msalata kabisa, mpenzi mtazamaji, mpenzi msikilizaji wa Mizani.
Tungependa Wakenya waende kwenye nchi ambazo tuko na mikataba nao.
Ulikuwa na Raila Odinga, ukawa na Wajakoya pia. Mbona hongeunga mkono?
Tupe mauzani wa masuala ibuka na chupukayo toka kila pembe ya Kenya na ukanda huu wa Afrika. Yawe mambo au vijimambo, jiunge na kutaarifu na kuarifu zako fikra. Kila Alhamisi saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
Mitamu.
Tukutane Mizani.
The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live. The Asian community in Kenya has been nationally recognized as the 44th tribe of the people of this great nation.
For me, God is real in Christianity. I talk to Him, He talks to me. I fail, He forgives me.
When I first read the first book of Genesis, it gave me an orderly sense of accounts of creation. Day 1 is what He does. Day 2, He creates this. Day 3.
Every third Thursday of the month, we bring you Asia Testify,
where we will be listening to life-transforming stories of Asian believers who have walked with the Lord. Only here on Hope TV. Look and live.
All right, welcome back to the bulletin and apologies for the technical hitch. Now, President William Ruto has today met Botswana Vice President Slamba Sogwane, who is in the country for the second session of the United Nations Habitat Assembly. President Ruto affirmed the country's efforts to expand trade in areas of medicine, textiles, horticulture, petroleum oils and furniture through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement known as AFTA, which Botswana has ratified. The head of state further acknowledged the existing potential between Kenya and Botswana in trade, despite the challenges of low volumes due to barriers. The four-day event, which commenced yesterday, will discuss, among other areas, affordable housing, which the government of Kenya is greatly championing. Now, in efforts to promote eco-friendly mobility for clean cities, which is a core agenda for the Global Alliance of Cities for Road Safety, First Lady Rachel Ruto cycled to the second session of the United Nations Habitat Assembly from State House. Through her Mama Cycling initiative, the First Lady covered a 10.8-kilometer distance, after which she launched the Global Alliance of Cities for Road Safety. The initiative also aims at promoting a healthy community through cycling. The First Lady has called for mutual respect between cyclists and motorists, encouraging them to work together to ensure safety on the roads. Elsewhere, UNESCO held the Access to Information Regional Meeting of Information in Africa that brought together information commissioners, ombudsmen, and other regulatory authorities across Africa. Among the issues highlighted during the meeting were the status of access to information in Africa, the implementation of access to information laws, and solidifying institutions of information commissioners in general and the African Network of Information Commissioners in particular. Speaking during the forum, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Principal Secretary Ibrahim Korir Singoe stated that the government will partner with various stakeholders and UNESCO to ensure that citizens in various African countries get the right of access to reliable information.
This session is very important because it ties into the African Charter on Human Rights, which talks about access to information as being a right, but access to information being availed in relation to the confines of the national laws of the countries. So it's very important for us to be able to ask ourselves, how well are we doing as a continent in relation to access to information, but also to ask ourselves in relation to information, what do we use information for when we get access to it? More often than not, we have seen that access to information has been focused around the needs of the media, but for us, we also need to look at access to information in terms of how it enables the citizens of the country and the citizens of the continent to be able to take advantage of the rights that they have acquired as signed in the various treaties and charters that have been acceded to by member states of the African Union.
Access to information to all, including disabled people or people having some disabilities, but also how to bridge the digital divide and the knowledge divide that we see between countries and sometimes even within a single country. Today, as we know, we live in an information-based society, in a knowledge-based society, and the foundation of this is information. And therefore, we want to tackle this issue and to strengthen existing laws, existing regulations to ensure that nobody is left behind.
Now on to matters counties. The Siaya County government has said it is now ready to provide evidence against Siaya Deputy Governor William Odwal, proving his alleged abuse of office and gross misconduct to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is EACC. According to the County Chief of Staff, that is retired Colonel Cyrus Oguna, the county executive has identified new evidence on how the Deputy Governor manipulated and influenced payment of certain contractors against the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Colonel Oguna further affirmed that the county will cooperate with the Anti-Graft Agency and relevant bodies in providing any additional evidence to back up their claims. Odwal has been at loggerheads with his boss, Governor James Orengo, as Odwal alleges that Orengo has encouraged corruption.
Allegations to do with misappropriation of public resources and also abuse of office. Our discussion last week touched on two key areas. The first area was delay in concluding investigations by the EACC of possible loss of Kenya shillings 600 million or thereabout. The second key area was was calling upon the EACC to quickly open investigations on claims by the Deputy Governor. His claims centered on flagrant misuse of public funds, denial of privileges, and victimization of officers, among others. We want to reiterate here, ladies and gentlemen, that the issue of 600 million that has been purported to have been lost in this regime. These are purely historical, like we said last week. Investigations to this have been going on for the last 2 years, long before even this administration came into office. It should be understood, therefore, that whoever is pushing these allegations and claims is driven by the desire to fulfill personal interest and not the interest of the people of Siaya. You may all recall, ladies and gentlemen, that during the campaign of this current regime, the slogan then was zero tolerance to corruption. As government, we have lived up to this, and the governor himself has been consistent that there will be no sacred cows in his government, including himself or anybody else. We therefore wish to report that we have received a telephone communication from the EACC that they are going to take action and effect arrest very soon, possibly even within the course of this week. We're encouraged by these developments, and we welcome the EACC to the county, into the county. We further want to add that we have identified new evidence of abuse of office by the Deputy Governor, which will be handed over to the EACC to aid in the investigation.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available. Amen. And He will make you able and capable.
Families under God, only on Hope TV.
All right, let's catch up with the business news for today. And NCBA has launched its 85th branch in Bungoma County's Chwele Market in efforts to bring its services closer to its customers in the county and the Greater Western region. The opening was presided by Bungoma County Governor Kenneth Lusaka and was attended by NCBA Group Executive Director David Aboga and other local leaders. Aboga expressed the group's commitment to providing financial solutions to customers and facilitate the economic growth of the town.
Through this branch, we will partner with you and inspire your growth, and we hope that we'll be able to give you a customer service experience that you actually are looking for. This is an important step towards providing financial services to a population that historically did not have a branch or a bank here for a long time. And we hope to really facilitate the growth of this town.
In the next 5 years, we are hopeful that Chwele is going to transform. And when Chwele transforms, other urban areas are also going to transform. What Mheshimiwa is talking about, we don't want hii mambo ya mabati, we are going to transform. So that zitoke hapo, they cannot be next to a bank that looks very nice, na hii inakaa mbaya. Kwa hivyo tutaona vile tunaweza kusaidia. Na mambo ya trade loans, we are ready. Anytime we are going to roll out trade loans kwa hawa bodaboda, mama mboga, ili waweze kutusaidia.
And KCB and the National Bank of Kenya, that is NBK, have partnered with Britam General Insurance to distribute affordable health insurance products targeted at small and medium enterprises known as SMEs across the country. The partnership is set to jointly distribute the newly launched KCB Simba Health for women entrepreneurs, while Uzima Tele Insurance plans will target organizations seeking medical solutions for employees and dependents. According to Britam's Chief Executive Officer and Group Managing Director Tom Gitogo, the new products are tailored for SME needs by enabling beneficiaries to safeguard their health. Gitogo further noted that the partnership will alleviate the burden on small businesses and allow them to focus on growing their businesses.
And I believe once the entrepreneurs are able to get the relevant products that they require, then of course it means they'll be able to play a greater role in the economy of this country. And also the government will be able to meet its agenda. And it's also an opportunity for the insurance industry to really find its place in the Kenyan economy. And it is important to observe that you've actually partnered with bank assurance intermediaries for KCB and NBK.
This partnership is more than just about financial benefits. It's actually about recognizing the critical role that health insurance plays in attracting and retaining skilled human capital to these MSMEs.
And in the sports arena, Ange Postecoglou has been appointed the Tottenham head coach on a 4-year deal. The Australian joins after 2 years at Celtic, in which he won a back-to-back Scottish Premiership titles and a domestic treble this season. Spurs held talks with Postecoglou, aged 57, on Monday, after agreeing terms with Celtic to bring him to North London. The tactician emerged as the preferred candidate last week, with Spurs having considered Brighton boss Roberto De Zerbi and Fulham head coach Marco Silva. The new head coach succeeds Antonio Conte, who was sacked in March as permanent Spurs boss. He becomes the first Australian to manage in the Premier League. And that brings us to the end of our bulletin for tonight. My name is Tiffany Wamboy. Our sign language interpreter for today has been Elizabeth Wanjiku. Do have a wonderful evening ahead.